Hi everyone, welcome into December. We are finally a month away from the new year, and with the start of the new year, we had some mixed numbers for the markets. Bitcoin was down a little bit today, so was Ethereum. Markets were mixed though, but we'll take a look at those. We'll also take a look at the miners. Argo, Bitfarms fell down to their new 52-week lows today, just barely, but we'll look at all those numbers there. And then Bitfarms also provided us some production updates, so there's some good, there's some bad, and we'll get into all that as well, okay? So as always, not financial advice. You guys know the drill here. I'm investing in final coins and companies. This is for entertainment only. Please always do your own research. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Okay, let's get into the markets here, and then we'll get into the rest of it. So S&P was down today 0.09%, just down barely to 4,076. Dow Jones was down 0.56% to 34,395. NASDAQ was up 0.10% to 12,041. Bitcoin was actually down a little bit today. Let's take a look at it. It was down 1.09% today to a close of 16,980. It hit a high today of 17,317, so that was actually pretty good. We are still trending in the right direction. We're still going up. On the RSI, we're at 47, so we're still pretty good. We did have a little pullback today, which is fine. That was kind of expected. We did go up here quite a bit here in the last 2 days, and we just need a little bit of a relief. Looking at the 4-hour chart here on Bitcoin, we can see that the RSI has fallen down here to 61, which is good. Last time we were around this point on the RSI was back here on the 23rd. And at that time, the price of Bitcoin was at $16,681. We are about $300 higher than that, so that's a good sign. We'll see if this can continue. On the 1-hour chart, RSI has also fallen down to 47. Last time we were here was back on the 29th. Bitcoin price at that time was at $16,361, so about $600 more on the 1-hour chart, so that's looking pretty good. That gives us a little bit more room to run up, which is great. Ethereum, looking at the daily chart here, it was down also a little bit today. It was down 1.41%, and the high was 1,302. The low was 1,262, and we closed at 1,276. And looking at the 4-hour chart, RSI has come down a little bit. Last time we were at this point was over here on the 26th. At that point, the price of Ethereum was at 1,220. So that's good. Price is higher. RSI is about the same. And on the 1-hour chart, RSI has fallen down to 49 right now. Last time we were at this spot going quite a ways back would be probably the closest would be down here where price of Ethereum was at 1,177. So up a little bit here, about $100 in change on that one. So that was all good. Now let's take a look at the miners here really quick. ANY was down 3.75% to 31 cents and a half roughly. Argo was down 10.85% to 6 cents. Argo is one of those that's having trouble. We haven't heard any stories from them, whether or not they're getting some financing or something like that, cash infusion to help them get through this market. They've been battling with higher electrical prices, and this is the result that we're seeing is the downward pressure on the miners here. Let's do this in the daily chart. You can see how it has fallen way down here to 6 cents, where it was just a little while ago, just in August, it was at 63 cents. So a huge decrease here in the last, 4 or 5 months. Bit Digital was up 1.2% today to 92 cents, almost 93. Bitfarms was down 0.51% to 58 cents. CleanSpark was up 2.22% to $2.30. Cores was up 8.93% to 14.5 cents. DigiHost was up 1.22% to 59, almost 60 cents. DMG was down 5.06% to 15 cents. Greenidge was down 2.47% to 62 cents. Hive was up 4.74% to $2.21. Hut 8 was up 0.84% to $1.20. Iris Energy was up 5.37% to $1.57. Luxfolio was down another 7.14% to 0.0039 cents. Marathon was down 1.74% to $6.21. Mawson was down 0.47% to 33 cents. Riot was also down 1.51% to $4.58, and Soluna was down 1.41% to 78.5 cents. Stronghold was down 5% to 69 cents. So kind of mixed bag in the miners today with their action in the markets. I was a little bit surprised that Riot and Marathon really were down today, along with, which one was it that I was surprised to see going down a little bit here? Bitfarms too, provided that they're usually like the first ones to provide their production updates for the previous month. And it wasn't actually a bad production update, but we'll get into it here in a minute. Okay, let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick. Network hash rate right now is at 253 million terahashes per second. So it has been coming up a little bit here. In the last day, we're still trending down lower. We'll see if this continues. This is on the 1-day average. If you look at the 7-day average, we can see that it spiked up a little bit here to 238 on the 7-day average, where we were from the high of close to 273 million. So we have come way down, and that's the result of Bitcoin price coming down, the network difficulty going up, and we should get a reduction in difficulty next week. But we'll see how much we get. Some are estimating around 10%, which would be good for the miners. And we'll see if miners start plugging back in that we're not profitable currently. But we'll see how that works out. Okay, so that is all that we have there. Let's take a look at Bitfarms, and we'll call it a day. So Bitfarms provided November 2022 production and mining operation updates. Here are the nitty-gritties of it all. So this is, I believe, who has said this? This is Geoff Murphy, President and CEO of Bitfarms. Our Canadian growth and expansion continue unabated and ahead of schedule, even with the recent turmoil impacting the sector and the price of BTC. In November, we energized an additional 6 megawatts capacity at the Garlock farm. In December, they expect to complete Garlock and phase 3 of the bunker, bringing our total Sherbrooke operations to the full 96 megawatt capacity. This build-out will mark a major achievement for the Bitfarms, which is true and great to see them this happening still. Okay. November production was impacted primarily by increases in network difficulty and a shorter month. It's 1 day shorter, which has set 4 all-time highs in the last 6 adjustments. So they're talking about the network difficulty. Year-to-date network difficulty is up 52%, while Bitfarms' hash rate has grown 109%. So that's great. Our strategy of using low-cost hydropower and highly efficient miners continues to deliver stable electricity rates and consistently lower production costs, which is true, and it's great. As such, we believe that Bitfarms is well positioned to benefit from any industry-related curtailment, idling, or shutting down of miners that may occur as a result of high fossil fuel energy source expense. So they're kind of, what's what I'm looking for? Insulated a little bit because they do use a lot of hydro. That has helped them out tremendously. Going down here, we can see select operating highlights 4.4 exahash at the end of November. That is an increase of 110% from last year, which is great, and a 5% increase from last month. Their average was 4.3 for the month. They also mined 105 BTC average hash rate for the month of November, down 9% from 115 in October, and that's based on the difficulty and a shorter month as well. Okay. Going down here, they talk about the Sherbrooke facility, and the really interesting one is in Argentina. So in Rio Cuarto, Argentina, construction of the 5th 10 megawatt module was completed in November, marking completion of the first 50 megawatt warehouse as commissioning continues. Miners installed at this warehouse totaled 2.3 thousand and contributed to 22.8 BTC in production for the month, so that's pretty good. Okay, and there's some numbers for them so far this year. They're probably going to break 5,000 BTC this year, which would be great, compared to 3,000 last year. Given that we've also seen a huge increase in the network hash rate difficulty as well, they have been growing quite nicely, and that has helped them stay above last year's numbers as well. Financial update. So this is good news too. Paid down 6.7 million in BTC-backed facility during November, bringing the outstanding principal to 16.5 million. Paid down 3.2 million in equipment-related indebtedness. So that's great. They did sell 453 BTC from mining operations and 400 BTC from treasury during November, generating total proceeds of 14.6 million. So they used their HODL position a little bit here to pay down some of their debt, which is good. They currently hold 1,664 BTC in custody as of November 30th, representing a total value of approximately 28.5 million based on the BTC price of 17,100. So that was okay there as well. So let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them, and we'll call it a day. Okay. So here's Bitfarms, 194 million shares outstanding right now. Stock price is at 58 cents. Market cap, 112 million. And we can see here that they are at currently 4.4 exahash, future hash rate of about 7.5. They are about 58% installed right now with 70% future growth left in them. Their hash rate average per miner is about 92. Based on my calculations, it might be a little bit higher, might be a little bit lower, depending which miners are actually running. And their BTC HODL is 1,664, BTC value of about 29 million based on the average Bitcoin price that I have here of 17,600, which we're lower than that right now, but we're just using the Bitcoin price, I believe, for the average of November. We'll start getting the numbers for December here tomorrow. So we'll get those updated as well. Okay, now BTC mined. I added a couple charts here, deleted a chart with the stock price going back a couple weeks. I figured this was going to be a little bit more interesting to look at than the stock price, which we can look at other charts for that relatively easily. So we can see here that BTC mined has been going up ever since January. February was a light month. It only had 28 days. So that's expected. Pretty much everybody was down for that month. But they did continue to increase here through August. And then they started kind of dipping a little bit here in September, October, and November. Excuse me. But other than that, everything's been going great. We've seen the biggest contributing factor to that is installing miners. So they got to keep up pace with the network hash rate increases in difficulty in order to mine more. Also, depending on the number of days in a month, that also contributed to it. I think we would have been pretty close to mining the 486 in November. If we had the one more day, they were mining 15 point something per day. So that would get us up to 468. And then the difficulty also increased, so that kind of lowered their operations a little bit as well. And we're probably going to see that for everybody here in the month of November. Now looking at their BTC per exahash, we can see that it's been pretty steady, for the most part staying above 120. We did dip a little bit here to 116 in June. We had a nice month in August of 136. And then we've been at 114, 115, 102 now in November. And that's based on the network difficulty. It's just you would need to probably install more than 200 petahash of miners to still be able to reach above that. Plus, they did a little curtailment. It looks like they were down for a couple, or at least like a day and a half, I think. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. I have them currently at about 7.9 million in revenue here, and this is based on the Bitcoin average price for our November, based on how much they mined. So I think they're selling daily. If they do, this is kind of where they should be. They said 7.7. We'll see what that's, but they're using the end of the month Bitcoin price. So I think this is going to be more accurate if they're selling daily on the market. So we're getting them at 7.9 roughly. And then looking at the numbers here for November, we can see that we installed another 2,000 miners of the 103 terahash miners possibly, based on what they reported when I calculated this. So that gave them an extra 206 petahash roughly. And those were only running for 20 days. The rest of the other miners were only running for 28 and a quarter days. And that got us down to the 7.97 million that I calculated on that. In yesterday's video, I was saying that they're going to be about 465 had they mined for the whole month of 30 days, which would have been possibly the case. Don't know if something happened there where they shut down operations for a little bit, but still not too bad. They were down just for a day and three quarters. So it wasn't too bad overall. Others have curtailed way more. But that could be just something else. Okay. What else do we have here? We went over the numbers there. Oh, and I forgot to update their institutions. Let's take a look at their institutions while I'm thinking about it. So I forgot to add this, so we'll do this. 12/1, 22. Let's take a look at their institutions for Bitfarms really quick while we are at it. Institutions. Let's see, they changed this stuff on me a little bit here. Institutions increased. Let's see here. What do we got? 114 institutions, 3503 million, 114. So we did have, it looks like an increase. 35.3, 35, was that 3503? 3503. 3503, 123. And what was the percentage on that? 17.59%. So it actually increased. So that's good. So that went up there. Let's take a look at the buy ratings if we can, analysts. So this is actually pretty good. So 30 held, 60 increased, and 91 institutions decreased a little bit, looks like. Analysts. We still have one buy rating and a price target of $3.72. Let's see here, one buy rating, $3.72, which is a little bit higher than it was just last month, $3.72. So that's good too. And then we'll take a look at where I actually have them at as well. Now, we know that they paid down some debt here. Let's see how much did they pay down. They paid down 16 million, was it? Where was it? Where did I see it? Oh, it was down here. Rio Cuarto, there it is. Paid down 6.7 million in BTC-backed loans. November, bringing the outstanding principal to 16, and then paid down 3.2 million in equipment-related indebtedness also. So about, was that 9.9 million that they paid down on their debt. Let's take a look at the numbers that we have here for Q3. I'm gonna down here, liabilities. So they only had 16. Well, total was 82 million that they had. Current portion of long-term, so they paid that down about 10 million, so they're down to 72 million, which is good. They have continued to pay this down, which is really good. And their current total assets is still 102, so they still have a pretty good current ratio. They're above 1, which is good, and that's just good to see that they're actually paying this down as well. Okay, so those are the numbers there, and let's take a look at where I have them at. So if we're looking at a P of 20, with the current quarter, they're possibly going to be around 26 million, depending where Bitcoin ends up at. We don't know that yet. We don't know how much they're going to install in December as well, if any. But right now, if things stay the same, they would be about 26 million in revenue. And looking at the last 3 quarters, we have those. That's 115 million combined for 141 million. 50% net income from gross revenue. We're looking at $7.30 for them. And then if Bitcoin starts really going up, we're looking at 1095 with a 75% net income from gross revenue. And that would be when Bitcoin gets closer to possibly 50,000, 60,000, somewhere around that mark. But they do have them at $3.70 some cents. What is that PE ratio? So they're using basically a PE of 10, looks like the analysts are. And that would be a pretty good ballpark, I think, between 365 and somewhere around 730. Okay, that's kind of where I'd be looking for them to go back up once Bitcoin starts actually going back up. Overall, it's not too bad. The only downside to this report is their BTC average. I have them at 102, but I'm using the end of the month hash rate. They're using the average hash rate. If you use the average hash rate, I do have them at 105 here. So that's one of the other things that I've added in here as well, is the BTC per average exahash on here as well for the months. So we're kind of doing this, adding a little things here and there just to make it a little bit easier for everyone to see and trying to track the data a little bit better that way. Okay. Overall, it's nice that they're growing. Nice that they're paying down debt. I don't see anything else that they could be doing better to be more beneficial to anybody or to everybody. The only thing is continued growth. Would like to have known what's going on in Argentina with the miners. Are they still stuck in customs or not? That would have been nice to know on that one, but maybe we'll get some more information when they actually get released from customs. But we'll see. Okay, so that is it. Overall, pretty good. Can't complain. I did buy into them a little bit more. When did I do that? Last month or last week? Days are going by so fast, so I can't even keep up anymore. But I did buy into them a little bit more. I bought another 1,000 shares of them and another 500 shares of CleanSpark. I'll continue to probably add into them as well when price slips down a little bit. But we'll see. I'm just dollar cost averaging as best as I can. And they are below $1, so they have been below $1 here. Let's take a look at that. How long have they been below $1? And it looks like they've been below $1 not too long, maybe about 20 days or so. So it's not too bad there. They usually have about, 180 days to get their stock price above $1 on NASDAQ, I believe. So they still have some time before they have to worry about possibly doing a reverse split or something like that to get the stock price above $1. Even if they did a reverse stock split, they do have almost 200 million shares out, so they could do a 5-for-1 split or 1-for-5 or something like that, whatever they call it. That would get them down to 40 million shares, and then that would raise the stock price up to $2.40. What is that? $2.80, right around there. So they have options for that. We'll see how that works out. Hive has done it in the past this year. Others have as well in the past, so not a big deal there. Okay, let me know what you guys think of Bitfarms with all that's going on. We'll get more data probably tomorrow from some of the other miners as well. I'm looking for forward to CleanSpark, Marathon, Riot, all those guys. They usually provide pretty fast data on that, which is great. Also, Soluna still has not provided any data on there, so if they don't provide anything this month, they're out. They'll be put in the can. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Spreadsheet is always available to my Patreon members. Thank you to everyone there for their continued support. Thank you for everyone watching. Love you all. Have a great night. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll see how the weekend's for Bitcoin. All right. That's it. See ya.